Let me show you every tip and tool that will help you with starting your digital art journey. And also I'll be using CSP, but most of these things will be in other painting programs. So first, let's start with setting up the canvas. So here we have a couple of important options. So first we have a name for our canvas. I don't really do that. But then obviously we have our default presets and our custom presets. And obviously you can change all the settings here and then press this here. It will help you save it. So pretty much what we're interested is the width and height of our canvas. And here we can change the unit. So I use pixels. We can also use inches, points, and whatever you want. But yeah, let's use pixels. Basically with resolution for your canvas, you want something that's not too pixelated when you just draw. Obviously it can be pixelated when you really zoom in, but try to not see pixels when looking from a normal zoom out position. So what I recommend is what I use. So pretty much a 6K by 4.5K. We can change here the rotation of our canvas. So this is vertical and this is horizontal. And depending on what you actually want to draw, you want to play with it. And obviously this is 3:4, the aspect ratio. But if you want to like post for Instagram, it would be 4:5. So pretty much 4 up top and 5 from the sides. So pretty much 4 is width and 5 would be height. Obviously I see other artists do like much higher canvases, like Sakimi-chan, she does pretty high canvas. Also obviously the League of Legends splash arts, there are kinda like 16:9, so 16 width and 9 height. But yeah, if your PC allows it, if you don't really lag as much, then you can just put whatever you want here. Now for resolution, it's mainly for just printing your work, and a basic rule, I won't go really into detail, but it's just 300 and will look good while printing. Okay, paper color is just the color of your canvas. Then templates, I don't really use that, it's probably for like, I don't know, comics or something. Then animation, no. And here I like using time lapses. So here I use a prioritize quality. Obviously you can like file size and whatever, but yeah, quality is the best. So then we just, okay, you name, you put your width and height, just press OK. And you have your canvas. Now for the basic just movement on your canvas, what you can do is pretty much H is a hand tool, then you can just move it. I set it to space, so it's also useful. So I can just draw, boom boom boom, and then space, boom boom boom, and yeah, pretty simple. Now obviously how I zoomed out and zoom in, I pressed Z, I just hold Z and then move my stylus, boom. And if you press 1, you don't have to hold it. But if you hold it and then just let it go, it will go back to your brush, which I really like. I don't have to just press, zoom, draw. I can just zoom out, boom, and draw right away. But yeah, I also use a simple rotation tool, and I've never used it. I started using it because I had an iPad and I could rotate the canvas, and it's quite useful because you don't have to if you want to draw this line here, you can just rotate it and draw like this. You see that it's more straight, depending on obviously your skills. But yeah, I like rotating, I like zooming in, just moving, super basic. Then we want to actually go into brushes. So something that lets you pretty much draw. Here on the side you have all your brushes. Obviously here you have all the settings, so brush size, I use keybinds, so for me S is increase and A is decrease. You can set it yourself. Then opacity, so if you change the opacity to like 30, you see that the strokes are less visible than to like 100. Obviously they are more visible. Use pen pressure, you don't have to, but it's pretty nice to just use pen pressure. And here we have hardness, and obviously my brushes are in description below, you can check them out, and with them you'll get 30 art tips that will improve your art in 30 days. But yeah, we can change the hardness, so pretty much make it more airbrushy like that, and pretty hard, so it's solid. I like to keep it simple in the between. Then brush density, so if we change it to like this, you can see that we'll start to get not much density in our brush. So let's put it to 100. Then we have texture, I use this. Then texture density also, so how much the texture will there be. You can see that there is a little bit of texture here. Okay, boom. Stabilization, it just makes your strokes not jittery. It helps you with making a better circles and stuff. Then also next amazing tool is eraser, so we can erase stuff. Okay, boom. It's pretty useful. In more advanced stuff it's super useful. But yeah, then we have a color picker, which which for me is for Alt. So you can pretty much pick colors, boom, just change color, pick here, boom, pick here, boom, pick here, boom, boom, boom. We can, but yeah, with color picker, we have obviously our color wheel on the right side. So here you have a hue, okay? So pretty much the color of your color. And here you have all the settings. So the values, so from up to top, so pretty much from white to black, the saturation from left to right. And you can play with it, okay? Here you have settings, you can see like what, I guess, properties have your colors. But yeah, pretty much just choose a color, boom, change it, boom, pretty fast, pretty neat. But now let's go to more settings. And here we have my not finished drawing. Here, my favorite tool is a lasso tool. So we can pretty much just select an area, okay, and then we can either draw within, and you see that it doesn't go past this selection tool. It's pretty cool. Also with this, you can select and then press Ctrl T. Now you can move it, so it's pretty nice. Well, you see here. But also lasso tool is great if you want to have nice transitions and also a lot of control over the edges. I use this all the time. Pretty much just select, pick an airbrush color, and you see here we have a pretty soft transition here, and obviously a hard edge here. Pretty nice. And you can see that here we have soft here and pretty hard here. Obviously, like so here, hard, soft. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now another cool tool that will help you with transitions and edges is a smudge tool. So for me it's Q. I use a simple blur, and you see that we have smooth edges. And with that, we can also use an eraser to, have even more control over the edges. And also the same, I use this all the time, everywhere. Okay, for example, here, you can just add some color, smudge it, then erase it, boom, and we just added some bounce light from this. And obviously the best tool, which is now liquify tool. So it basically lets us liquify our drawing. So with that, we can something like this. Boom, a horse, fix this eye here, okay, and yeah, it's amazing. Not only for that, but also for fixing mistakes. So for example, if you want to maybe, let's say, push this eye a little bit higher, you can just do this. If we want to make our nose a little bit more pointy, we can also make it like that. Wider lips, we can also do that. So it's great for fixing our mistakes. It's especially good in the early stage when we sketch. So instead of, erasing something and drawing it again, it's just, boom, more curve. Yeah, pretty useful, super useful. But now let's go to other thing, which are layers. So I use them all the time. Let's make a new layer, and pretty much here we have our settings for our layers. Here we have opacity. If we decrease it, you see that it becomes more faded, okay? And change the opacity, you see. It's good if you have a sketch, then you can just change the opacity and then draw below that, pretty good. But yeah, now let's go to other thing, which is, let's go here, boom, make a new layer, Ctrl Shift N, or just press some button here, this, and it will create a new layer. Now let me show you something interesting, something super useful. So pretty much we have our layer this, change the color like this, and you see if we just paint it like here, you can see that we can paint everywhere. But now if we press this button here, clip to layer below, boom, it clips. And now if we draw, you see that it doesn't go past our drawing below. So it's pretty useful. Also, you can do that by just simply selecting this layer here and clicking this. Lock transparent pixels, and it basically just works the same. You just can't go besides that, okay? But here you just draw everything on the same layer, and here on another layer. So you can just press Ctrl T, boom, move it, and here you cannot. If you press Ctrl T, you just move the whole thing. Obviously the eyes lets you hide the layer, boom, super important for making like copies, and then you just can hide it, pretty useful. But now we go to our layer modes, okay? So make a new layer, okay, just leave this here, boom. Here we have a normal, which is normal, and there's a lot of stuff, just try for yourself. I'll just go through the most important that I use. Make a multiply layer, just take, I guess, this, and you can see that we can add some shadows real quick. Obviously you just want to pick a better color, doesn't look that muddy, but yeah, it basically darkens the color, and also it raises saturation a bit. So for example, here we can just add like this area here, maybe in shadow, boom, maybe more here, and yeah, it's pretty great. So now next layer mode is a color dodge. I also use this a lot. Here I like to just choose an airbrush. Here we can boost some colors. It's a basic color dodge. Boom. Obviously less is more, don't overdo this. Okay, I'm just showing here. Boom. It just boosts colors, and same to be honest with this glow dodge. It also just boosts colors, then add glow. I like adding add glow. So for example, okay, make now add glow and just do something like this. And you see that we have a glow. Pretty useful, pretty neat as well. Now for we can show like this. There's glow dodge, color dodge, and then add glow, and here overlay. Overlay just also works pretty much close to this, also raises saturation and does a little bit stuff. So then we have soft light. It's also good for like adding light. For example, here we can just, there would be light and make it like this. Boom. Here we have light. You can make it like this. Boom. We have also hard light. It's just soft light but stronger, way stronger. Then we have pretty much, I don't use these. What I use sometimes is color. So for example, if we have this ball here, then we can make a new color layer, maybe clip it, choose whatever color we want, and you can just paint it. So it's great for just grayscale. For example, if we add here something like this, boom, you see that now it works. It adds color, but if there's like a higher value, it also adds color with this value. Okay, so it doesn't work like, let's copy this. Okay, not now normal. You see that it just base color. Now it just takes, look at the color beneath. Now let's go to another part which is super important. So here let me tell you about useful shortcuts that I use all the time. So pretty much just first of all bind everything, every tool to whatever button you want. That is really easy for you to use. Then we have obviously a Control Z. So you can just undo with Control Z. Okay, here you also have the whole history. You can go whatever you want. Now if you just place a stroke, you just undo it and you want to go back, boom, Control Shift, and it goes back. So bing bong, pretty useful. Now another one is flip canvas. It lets you actually see a lot of mistakes that you're doing, and it's pretty simple. It gives you a new look at your drawing. So maybe you're drawing for a really long time and you just got used to the drawing. Okay, now if you press S4, you have a new perspective on your drawing. Okay, now you see all the mistakes, the wrongs, but you can obviously spam this. You can do this all the time, and even with this you can get used to it. So what I started to do recently is just flip it like that. What it gives you a better look on the shapes. So for example, here you see that this is a little bit flat here, I can see, so we can push it a little bit. Now we can see better if the facial features are aligning. Bing bong, align here, also this, and yeah, it gives you like a pretty cool look at your drawing. Obviously you can rotate and flip it still. You can even go sideways. I also sometimes do that. It can help you a lot, so it's super useful. And how you do this is you go view, rotate, flip, and flip horizontal. I set it to F4. Now another one is a shortcut that lets you fill the selected area. So for example, you selected area, F2, you press F2 and it fills. Okay, you can also do that by just simply going here, gradient, you can go here to the fill and you just fill it. But to be honest, F2 just works much better. So here you can see this, go to edit and just fill. I have it to F2, pretty useful as well. Now another thing that will help you with drawings is Control Y, and here you see that we see now in grayscale. And why is it so good? Because you see all the values and you can see if your drawing works, and it pretty much helps you with making your focal point stand out. So we can see that we have everything in grayscale. So with that you can make like more important parts in your drawings. So pretty much have contrast between other things. So for example, the eyes is pretty light and the hair are darker, same as the neck is darker. So it just creates a contrast around this, showing the face better. Also this part here is more light than this dark here, and the dark hair that wrap around this. Obviously then we can make a new multiply layer, just go to airbrush, make a little bit darker and just darken this, so it gives a little bit more pop to this part here. And also we have a pretty light background, white background, and it just gives contrast to hair. It's pretty good. It lets you see the contrast better in the values. And now other thing is a simple Control U. So for example here we can perhaps change the color to, let's say, pink. Boom. And now with Control U you can change the hue of the color. You can see yellow, purple, blue, teal, more blue. Also saturation, so more saturated. Boom, boom, it's pretty saturated already. And low saturation. Now also darker, lighter, pretty nice. Okay, it's super useful. But also then what I use is I use other things. So for example here you can see these 4 layers. These are different layers because these are correction layers. So for example if we hide this, you can see that the drawing is now much flatter. So pretty much you just press right click, correction layer, and here I use either brightness and contrast and color balance. So for example here we can change the balance of our color, so make it more bluer, more cyanish, more blue. Okay, go to shadows, make them also more blue, more cyan, maybe a little bit magenta. Now highlights we can make a more redder, maybe a little bit of magenta, make it pinkish, and perhaps a little bit yellower. Now if we hide it, you can see that it already looks much better. It's super useful. Then we have a simple correction layer, boom, brightness and contrast, which can, you know, increase the brightness, make it darker, make it more contrasty. So now let me show you what I do to make my drawing finished. So here basically I just convert every layer into one. I just make it like that. Then I'll go into filters, and here I use FX, chromatic aberration, which basically adds a nice chromatic aberration. So if we zoom in a second, you see that here we have like a blue line. It basically just moves channels of colors a little bit. So with, without, with, without. So let's put it. Okay, now let's copy our layer. So here let's just now filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I like to use this and make it a little bit blurred like this. Okay, it goes. Okay, and now just take a soft airbrush and just erase the parts where you want to have more focus. For example, here, boom, maybe this here, boom, boom, boom. And we can do this and see where we can actually erase more. For example, here, boom. Now just merge the things, the layers, and then go into filter, FX, and noise. Like adding noise, 9 is good. And now if you zoom in, you see that there's a lot of noise, which I see that Riot artists also do. That's why I like to use it. These are pretty much the filters that I use in the end of my drawings. And also, if you want, you can check out my Patreon for monthly tutorials. Now to recap everything, we want to set up our canvas. Then we have a simple tools that lets us move, some zoom, move, rotate. Then we have our brushes, our erasers, our color wheel, our picker tool, then obviously our lasso tool with different things like move, showing in this, okay, airbrush. Then we also have a smudge tool, boom, that lets us make a cool transition between edges, boom, and colors. Then we have our liquify tool that helps us move things and fix our mistakes really easily. And then when it comes to layers, we have obviously all the settings here and a lot of types of layers that lets us do different things and useful shortcuts. So pretty much just set wherever you want. And yeah, so flip the canvas, like fill, Control Y to see, Control Y to see the values of your drawing, also Control Z to undo, and then Control Shift Z to redo. Now also we can change the color with Control U, can play with colors, and then we can go into correction layers that lets us really quick just adjust colors, saturation, brightness, and all the stuff to make our drawing less flat. And then we have some filters that I use. So pretty much the Gaussian blur, the chromatic aberration, and noise. That's what I use. And if you want to learn how to draw better characters, then you can check out this video here. It will help you with it.